everyone from my new apartment. I still don't have an intro, so here we are. I asked all of you on Instagram what questions you had for me because today I wanted to do like a Q&A type situation. So these are questions that you asked and I'm going to answer. Also, please don't mind this lighting situation. I'm gonna get it fixed soon, hopefully. I just don't really know how to fix it. And honestly, I don't think this is my new filming spot, but we'll have to wait and see. My iPad's over here, by the way, so if you see me looking over here, it's because all my questions are over here. And it's charging because it died. Anyways, how could I help myself to develop self-esteem tips, especially when you as a disabled woman are in a country that makes disability a burden and unbeautiful physically? Ooh, that's a loaded question. Personally, I've had pretty low self-esteem and self-confidence my whole life. But one thing that I found really helps with my self-confidence issues is therapy. I do go to therapy once a week. It's trauma-based therapy, which is really fun and exciting for me. But, medical trauma is a real thing. And being disabled in this world is difficult and causes you a lot of trauma in general. So I do self-care practices like journaling and making sure I'm eating well. But honestly, I am still depressed and I am still anxious. And I think just being disabled in today's day and age will do that to you. I think self-esteem is kind of a fake it till you make it practice for me. I don't feel like my self-esteem is very high, so I don't feel like I should be answering this question. I feel like I come off a lot more confident than I am, but I do have a lot of confidence issues and a lot of self-esteem issues in general. So I do believe that in our ableist society, we tend to view disability as a burden. I do agree with that statement, and I'm still unlearning a lot of my internalized ableism that comes with that. It's really difficult. And it's not easy to unpack or easy to unlearn, but it's a lifelong journey. And I think self-esteem is really a lifelong journey. I don't know if this answered your question at all, so I apologize. Also, if you hear Champ snoring in the background, there's only so much I can do about that. Next question. As a wheelchair user and actor, what is your opinion on the representation of wheelchair users in media? Great question. That's the reason I got into this industry, because I didn't like the portrayal and representation of disabled people in general in media. That's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. And that's why I strive to be that representation. I do believe that the representation of wheelchair users is getting better. I think it is getting more authentic, and I'm starting to see a lot of my friends who are also wheelchair users getting roles, which is very comforting and makes me, as not only an actor but also a disabled person, feel a lot better about watching things and supporting projects and things like that. So I think that we have a long way to go as far as accurate representation of disability and wheelchair users in general in media, but I think we're doing well, and I hope people like me can change the industry for the better. How do you handle the days where the frustration of disability builds up to a breaking point? Great question. I've been struggling a lot with this lately. Honestly, within the past year or so, I've had a lot of frustration that I've learned in therapy stems from my frustration with my disabled body and my disabilities. And that's really difficult. There are some days where I handle it by just laying in bed and not doing much. There are some days where I just get really mad and punch a pillow. There are days where I need to talk about it with my boyfriend. There are days when I need to distract myself by doing something fun or doing a self-care activity. Like for me, that's cooking or crocheting or just sitting and watching TikToks for a while or Netflix or whatever, just to take my mind off of it. So I think there are a few different ways that I handle my frustration about my disability. I think that having frustration surrounding your disabled body and your disability is a very normal thing. I feel like everybody gets frustrated with themselves sometimes, and especially disabled people, not necessarily because of our disabled bodies, even though that's some of the issue. I usually get frustrated with people's perceptions of disabled people and or the ableism in society or the way that the world is not made for me. That's what I usually get frustrated about. Sometimes it's about the fact that I'm in pain or I couldn't walk as far as my friend or my boyfriend that I was with, but usually it's because the world's not made for me, and that's really frustrating, or somebody treated me differently because of my disability, and that's not my body's fault, that's not my fault, that's society's fault. So I think there are a few different ways that I handle those days, but those are just a couple. Do you know any ASL? I know very little, and that makes me really sad. I'm learning a lot more ASL. I'm looking into classes for ASL right now because it is something that I want to learn. And as someone who's hard of hearing, it's really hard to, personally, like this is just my experience, I found that it's really difficult to be accepted into the deaf and hard of hearing community unless you know ASL. And I think that's valid in some ways, but it can be very isolating as somebody who just wants to connect with people. I do want to learn that part of deaf culture. So I'm working on learning more and taking classes. Do you want to have kids in the future? Yes, 100%. I have known ever since I was really, really young that being a mom is something that I've always been meant to do. I love kids and I love the idea of having a family one day. It's something that my boyfriend and I talk about all the time, and we're really excited for that part of our lives way in the future. And we don't really know what that's gonna look like for us. I don't know if having kids is even really a possibility for me, and so that's kind of scary, and I don't know what my body is able to handle and what it's not. So I guess that is a later conversation. If you guys want more details on that, let me know, because there's a whole story there. Anyways, what styles of dance do you do? So I was trained in jazz, tap, Broadway styles, and ballet. I do more Broadway styles and jazz than I do tap and ballet. Ballet is what I was trained in fundamentally, and that's what I was trained in first, but I love jazz. I love jazz so much, and I love Broadway styles. I like tap if I need a cardio workout for the day, but tap is really difficult. It's really hard, and I do like doing it, but only when I'm in a certain mood, and there's really not very many places that you can like tap dance in your house unless you have floors for that. I don't. So I haven't tapped in a while, but I would love to do more Broadway styles and more jazz, and I need to find a dance studio where I'm located now. When I was closer to the city, I had a lot more options of dance studios, and I haven't really looked for one around here, so I really need to do that soon. Is Champ your only dog? He's the only dog that I own that lives in my house, but my mom and my sister have two other dogs that I lived with for years before I moved out on my own. And their names are Rue and Cora, and I love them too, but Champ is the one that lives in my house and the one that I see every day. And the other two are in Seattle. How old was Champ when you first got him? Champ was almost 2 when I got him. Tell me about your experience attending college with a service dog. What was it like for you? That's a great question. Attending college with Champ was really difficult, but also so much fun. It really was, because he was like a part of my friend group. Obviously, he goes with me everywhere all the time. And so he went to every single class with me. He made friends just like I made friends. He loved certain people more than others. He truly was so much fun to have in college. There were some days where I was doing like a 12 to 15 hour day, and it was kind of exhausting to have another living, breathing being that you have to take care of and make sure all of his needs are met. So that part was a little hard, especially as like an 18, 19-year-old just trying to figure out how to take care of myself, who was doing a conservatory program, but also having to take care of something else that also needs to go to the bathroom and to eat and to exercise and all the rest. So that part was really difficult, but ultimately it was really fun, and I loved having Champ at college. I think that all my classmates also really loved having Champ at college. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? Oh, right now, I would love to travel to Italy. One of my really good friends lives in Italy, and I would love to be able to see her again. I love traveling. I would love to go back to New York City. New York City has my full heart and always has. I would love to travel to other states in the country that I've never been to. I would love to also just travel internationally. I really want to go back to London. I really want to go to Paris and other places in France. I just want to travel. I want to go anywhere and everywhere. I love being in new places and trying new foods and experiencing things that are outside of my comfort zone and outside of my routine. So I just want to travel. That's my answer to that question. How do you navigate the inaccessible big city transportation? I don't. I honestly, I don't. I Uber or my boyfriend drives me everywhere because big city transportation scares me so much. When I was living in the city, it terrified me because I knew people, mainly young girls, who were followed, who took like the train every day or the bus every day or whatever, and that just scared me because I'm so much more vulnerable to that kind of thing, and I don't have very many options if I was in a dangerous situation. So I don't, mainly because it terrifies me to do any kind of big city transportation. And I know that's a very privileged thing to say, and I recognize that. It's just safer for me not to do big city transportation. And honestly, that means that I'm isolated a lot of the time, and I fully understand that. That means that I don't go very many places because I don't have very many options to go to the places I want to, unless my boyfriend's free to take me somewhere and he works a lot, or unless I am willing to spend money on Uber or Lyft or something like that. So it really sucks because things are so inaccessible in the city, but also things are just incredibly unsafe for female presenting people, and that sucks. Of course, my fan turns on right now. Anyways, those are all the questions that you all asked me on Instagram. Thank you so much for asking those questions. It was so much fun to answer them, and I hope to do more of these kinds of things in the future. If you have a question that I didn't answer, please leave it down below because I love to know what you guys want to know. I don't know another way to say that. I want to make content that is appealing to you and something that you want to watch. So please let me know if you have any video ideas or if you have any questions that I didn't answer and that you want me to answer. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all that. And again, I still don't have an outro. So thanks for watching. See you next time.